Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our inaugural RealOffice360 webinar here. My name is Mike McCara, and I'm the actual CEO of RealOffice360. So you've got the person at the top to do this one today. So hopefully I do okay and can let you guys know everything that you need to know about RealOffice360 to make your business more effective and more efficient. Because at the end of the day, that's what a CRM is for. It's to make your life easier. So just to give you a couple things before we get going here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically start really basic, and we're going to go through everything that we offer through Office 360. We're going to go through some of the very core initial things, such as adding clients, importing clients, syncing to Google, all of that good stuff. Talk through a little bit how the calendar and the tasks work, as well as tracking your business. But at the same time, you'll notice on the screen that you have the ability to enter in chat. So those questions come right to me. So at the end, what I'll do is I'll leave some time for any of your questions. So if you have any questions at the time, I'll try to keep track of those as we're going. So if they're relevant at that time, I'll try and address that. Otherwise, I'll just leave them to the end, and then we can go through and answer that at that point in time. The other thing that I should point out is that this is being recorded. So anything that I say, if it goes a little bit too quick, I'm going to be emailing out this recording. We're going to be putting it on our YouTube channel as well. So you'll be able to watch this over and over, hopefully, if it's that good, and be able to look up, hey, what did he say here, or I didn't catch that. So don't worry if you feel like things are going too quick, because we've got a lot to get through. So lastly, I'm going to keep this to an hour. So right now, we are about a minute in, so we're going to shut this down in about 59 minutes from now. We're going to be looking to do these again over different topics as well in the coming weeks and months. So if you have also things that you'd like to see going forward, feel free to let us know, as we'd be happy to run these. So before we do anything else, let's, I guess, jump into it. So just bear with me a minute. I'm going to share my screen, and we're basically going to walk through everything that you should have already seen when you sign up for RealOffice360. So see my screen there, and I'm just going to pull up. There we go. And I'm just going to minimize this here. Okay. So obviously this is the main screen we've all seen. You can log in the top right corner or sign up if it's your first time. So if I click log in, it's going to obviously take us to the login page, which again is very straightforward. So I think we've all been able to get to the point, which is great. One thing I do want to point out, if you click this little keep me logged in button, you'll never see the sign-in page again. It'll store a sort of key on your machine, and it'll just take you right into the app. So that's a little convenient thing. So next time you can just click that little box and log in. So I've already logged in here, and this is the basic landing area where you get into RealOffice360. So I'm just going to take a quick minute to sort of orient you on what you're exactly looking at. So across the top, you've got a few things. You've got this thing called database. You've got this thing called tracker. Now, if I click on it, we've got a few other options. We'll drill into what those are. We've got this thing called planner. We've got this thing called calendar. And then it's really hard to see, but you've got these little dots. And if you click on that, you've got a whole bunch of other things. So we've got notes, learn, my drive, something called my drive. We'll get into that. Network, marketing, and messages. So there's quite a few things. And so these are all available to you on the free plan. So everything that I'm going to show you today is all on the free plan. Obviously, the way that we've sort of built RealOffice360 is so that you can work with it, grow your business in such a way that you can do everything on the free plan. And then as your business grows and things sort of ebb and flow, then you have the opportunity to get those more advanced, say, limits or those more features. So we'll go through each of those. I should also point out that if you click this little menu in the left-hand corner, you're going to see all those things across the top. So at any given time, if you want to jump to one of the sections, you can always just click on that menu. Then you've got this account and billing, help and learning center, system settings, and then sign up. So pretty standard stuff. That's also up here in the top right corner. I should point out that at any time, if you have any questions about RealOffice360 and you're not on this webinar, you can always click this little question mark where we've got video tutorials, FAQs, and a direct contact. So if you want to just chat with us, you click that. If you want to just actually look up some things for yourself, you can go to the FAQ. Or if you want to watch some videos, this will take you to our YouTube channel. So that's pretty great. So I'm just going to continue to go through sort of the setting up your account, and then we'll get into the bit of fun here in a minute. Everything that you need to do to set up your account would be under your settings. So if you click in here, You've got a whole bunch of different settings. Each one of these sections expands. You can go through and set things up. The one important thing, and the reason that I wanted to come into here first, is that the notification system, so any times that you set something to be done and you want to get notified about it, it's based on your time zone. So we automatically set that for you when you sign up. You see right now my time zone is Canada Mountain, but you can go in here and you can, I'm just going to close that. There we go. You can go and set this at any given time. So if you simply click edit, you've got your time zone there. So just make sure that you're on the right time zone. And then currency down here, you can set your currency as well for the business tracker. But you can dive into that. There's a lot in the settings there that you can play with. So let's get to the fun stuff. So on RealOffice 360, everything is connected. So your client database is connected to your tracker, which is connected to your planner, which is connected to your calendar. So basically what that means is anything that you do in one section will be synced across to the others. So if you think about it, it's like a series of little called micro apps all communicating together to make this sort of holistic CRM for you. So when you log in, you've got this example client in here, and you've also got this getting started list. I'd encourage each and every one of you to go through and go through this getting started checklist. It gives you basically the 3 key things to sort of understand RealOffice 360. It's very, very quick. You can go through, tells you how to add import, add opportunity cards, etc. So that's a convenient thing, but we're going to do that anyway on this webinar. So you come in here and you've got an example client. So what our database does is it's effectively a place for you to store all of your clients. So by name, their phone number. We've got these things called groups. So a lot of people use these for, you know, is this my A list, B list, C list? We have seen a lot of people put active buyer, active seller as a group, but I'm going to show you on this webinar that there's a much cleaner and more efficient way to actually organize your buyers and sellers, which is kind of exciting. So we'll go through that. How many properties they own. So for example, if you have clients that own a couple properties, so maybe they have that recreation property, or they have their kids are in university and they've got that condo by the university. How many properties they have, you can add that all under one client so you always understand what's going on. Activities due, so if you have anything that you need to do for them, that's going to appear under here. And any deals that you're currently working with. This is something that's actually under development right now, and it obviously works for you right now, but this is going to be getting a lot better in the coming weeks, so stay tuned for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click on this client. So any client in your database, once they're added in, you can click on and explore. So I'm going to click on that. So in here, you've got everything that you need for your client, and it's broken down in these convenient sections. So you've got their general details, you've got their properties. So you'll see right now, this person has Buckingham Palace, so they're over in the UK, so this must be the Queen of England, and it tells you everything about their property. Deals, any closed deals you've done with this person or any archive deals, and we'll drill into what the differences are between those in a moment. Any tasks that you have that are coming up with this client. So right now, it's telling me that I need to contact this example client on October 2nd. I also have a task that says write and send a personal note. So we'll drill into where that came from. And then I've also got their birthday coming up on October 9th. So that's sitting there for that. Nextly, we've got notes. So any notes that you want to write on the client. So let's say you just went for a coffee with them and you wanted to jot down a couple things mentioned so that you know, for example, they were contemplating investing in a recreation property. So you could just quickly come in here, click add note from coffee on October 3rd, mentioned desire to invest in Vail, Colorado in the next 6 months, something like that. Simply add that and it's going to populate here based on date of entry with this note. So this is going to be a note specific to this client. So that's pretty cool. And then lastly, we've got files. So you can upload files to your clients, and we'll drill into exactly how this all works, but you can upload files directly to them that are just attached with this client. So I've uploaded this example image right here, see how big it is, if I'm sharing it or not, and I'll talk about the sharing in a moment as well. So clearly there's a lot of different things. Now, a lot of questions we get is, can I email my clients directly? Absolutely, you can. To email your client directly from the CRM, you just simply click the email button here. It opens up this little email panel where you can enter in the subject line, enter in what you want to send, and then just punch send, and that will send the email. I should point out that the email address you've added here is the email address that it will be sent to. Down here in the details, this is probably the core of any contact management, which would be understanding their basic situation, their living situation. So, the core things are, and if we click the edit panel, we can go in and see here. Obviously, a picture of them, their name, their birthday. You can add these client groups. Right now, we have an example group. Let's say we want to add a different group. I just type in A list. And you'll see right now, it says A-list, click to create this group. I've just created the A-list group. So now instead of it being the example client, it's A-list. And I can add another group, let's say A-list and hockey team, something like that. So that's pretty cool. The next thing that we've got is this remind me to contact the client. So if you can turn this on or off, if you turn it on, it's going to ask you how frequently. So whether every month, every 3 months, every 6 months, or every year, you want to be reminded to contact that person. So what we've found is been really convenient for a lot of our clients is that they want to just have a real quick reminder that, hey, it's been a while since I've reached out to this person and I want to connect with them. So what we're encouraging people to do is when they add clients to the system, they come in here, turn this on, and say how frequent. Some clients, they only want to talk to you once a year. Some clients, it's every 6 months. You kind of get the point. So you select whatever you wish. We'll say every 3 months. And I'll show you where that goes a bit later. And then lastly, origin source. So where did this client come from? Were they a relationship, a referral, or advertising? If you click on this little I, which you'll find throughout, this gives our definitions of what those types of relationships are. And then lastly, you've got the contact information. So you've got the home number and you've got emails. If you want to add more than one, you just need to click that little plus button there and you can add multiple phone numbers. Same with the email. If you click the plus button, you can add multiple emails. So I'm just going to stay with that for now. So I've updated that contact information and you'll see that now instead of it saying example group, it says A-list and hockey team. So that's pretty cool. Now you can obviously go in and do the same thing for spouse information, children, pets, mailing address, all that good stuff, but I think we get the point. If we go over to the properties tab, it looks like there's not a lot of information here, but if you click on any of these properties, you can add effectively every single component of a property's, let's call it makeup, into the system. So the more you know about a client's property, the better. This is pretty important for two reasons. Number one, it obviously positions you as their real estate expert, which is great. But number two, when the time comes around that you're either listing that home or going into the listing presentation, the fact that you have all this information at your fingertips already, and don't just assume that a lot of this information is going to be on your back office software, because sometimes, for example, if it's a new build, it won't be on your MLS, right? So if you can get this information beforehand, it really alleviates sort of that added stress when you're going to the listing presentation or you're going to actually go and do have the meetings with the clients. So under property information, we've got everything from property type to purchase price to when it was built, beds, all that good stuff. If it's a condo, a bunch of information. Rural, a bunch of information. Rooms and dimensions. So you can come in here and you can go in and let's say one of the value adds that you do for your clients is you go in and you measure their property. You can come in here, pick which room, pick where the level is, put in their dimensions and add each one of those to their property. You can add in a value history. So purchase price, but let's say each year you do a CMA for your client. It's hard to keep track of those files, right, and what it was last year. So you can simply just come in here, add another property value, valuation category, whether it's an appraised value, say it's a CMA value. And so they bought this in 2013 for 935 million. Let's say that, times have changed and now it's only 950 or 9,900,000, something like that. We change the date to today, October 3rd, and you can upload that CMA that you do right here. So you could just simply browse to the files and upload, and this will just create that value on the system for you. So now you can see that they bought it for 900 million, but now it's only worth 9 million. So this client wouldn't be very happy. Tax assessment, if this is something in your area, you can add tax assessments. as well as loading in sort of real property or survey reports or floor plans. You can upload all this information so you have it at your fingertips. So there's a lot of information you can put in here on your clients, which is great. That's one of the key things about a CRM. But I just want to take a moment to effectively tell you why there's so much information there, because it's a lot of data entry. The reason we built this way is because we built it more for that relationship style of real estate selling. So as you start to understand and start to interact with your clients more and more, we want you to be able to have a system that can take that information for you and store it in a streamlined manner. So that's why there's a lot there. You don't have to obviously add it in, but you can if you want to. So I think that's enough on the client profile, but it's a pretty core part. So I'm going to jump back to the database and we're going to walk through a few of the key things of getting started. So, okay, this is great, Mike. How the heck do I get started? Well, you have three really different ways that you can get started on Office 360, and it all starts with adding your client. So if you're just getting started in the business, you can just simply add clients one at a time. So for example, I want to add myself, Mike, Kara. I don't know my email yet. I don't know my phone number. Let's see, maybe it's this one here. Just note that you've got this little drop down so you can pick different country codes. So again, if you're one of our clients from overseas, you can pick any one of these, have the correct formatting. So I'm going to pick Canada for now. I'm going to put this a group as new clients, create that as a group. I want to contact Mike every 6 months, or get a reminder to do that. And this is a relationship. I know Mike is a past colleague. I don't know Mike's address here, so I'm not going to put that in. And I'm just going to add him as a client in here. So you'll see that Mike's now been added to the database. So you'll see you have a total of 2 contacts. So that's great. That's one way to add. But let's say you're coming from another CRM, or you've got that spreadsheet of clients that are just sitting around. Well, this little button beside add client is our import. So in here, you can import contacts with the CSV, or you can import your contacts from Google. So if you have a Google account, whether you know it or not, Google does a really great job of actually populating your phone book, for lack of a better word, with all those contacts. So you can actually connect directly to your Google account and it'll pull all those people into here. That's both good and bad, because a lot of the time you can have a lot of contacts in your Google contacts that aren't really core clients, but it's good because it can get you a really quick start. So let's say we wanted to import, so we're coming from say another CRM, or we've got a spreadsheet floating around. We just click the import contacts, and in here, this is that 3-step wizard to import your client. So I'm gonna go through it. So it says upload CSV. What the heck is a CSV? Well, down here we've got this need help, learn how to import CSV, as well as this contact us. So if you have any questions when we're going through this, again, feel free to use these links. I'm going to click on this learn more, how to import. And what it does is it takes us right to our support center, where it tells you everything that you need to know about importing your clients. So why you should do it, how do I convert into a CSV file? Just to be clear, a CSV file is just a fancy name for a unformatted spreadsheet. And then how you can actually export from, say, some of the classic CRMs, as well as say your iPhone or iCloud, Outlook, all those things. And so if you scroll through here, there's a bunch of information of what you can do. You can download an example CSV file, all that good stuff. But again, I would encourage you just to directly contact us if you have any problems. So I'm going to walk through here. So the first thing is it needs to ask you for an Excel CSV file. So just to give you the full story, so before we started here, I have this CSV file on my desktop right there. And so I'm going to be uploading that. So that's just my client list that I have in spreadsheet format. So again, however you get that. So I'm going to click to grab that file. I'm going to go desktop, and we'll click on client import list. That's what I've named it. And I'm going to click open. As soon as I do that, you'll see that it's grabbed the file name, the size, the type, and it's allowing me to now upload that file. So I'll click that button. And then I'm on number 2. And so in number 2, we don't know how you've organized that spreadsheet, but you do. So what this allows you to do is basically say, for each column of information, what does that represent? So if I click in here, it's going to show me all the columns of information that I had. So you'll see that it says first name, and then there's 3 options: Alexandra, Ganesh, Jacqueline. So that is the first column of data that I have in my spreadsheet. So I'm just going to click and map that there. So first names, those are the options. Last name, this is the way that I've named it. Last name, Pesky Donovan Pavlik. Email, I'm going to add that. Address, what do we got? Phone, no. Company, no. Address, yep. Company, this is one that we had down here. And phone number, we're going to phone number. Now, I don't have any other information to be imported. You can tell because if I click in here, nothing's coming up. All of the columns in my spreadsheet have been, it's called mapped. So now I'm going to click the next step. In this next step, if you're doing it for the first time, it really doesn't matter which option you use. But if you've already imported contacts, you have a bunch of contacts already in here, this does matter. So it's asking you if duplicate contacts are found, what do you want the system to do? Do you want them to merge the two together, or do you want to create multiple entries so that you can go back and see? I personally like to create multiple. I'm a little bit of a control freak, that way that I can go through and vet. But again, your business practice is your business practice. We have built a few new features that allow you to do some pretty quick bulk deletes if you've got too much junk in there. So that really helps streamline the process. So I like to err on the side of creating multiple. So I'm going to click Begin Import, and you'll get this nice little thing. It's going to tell you how many we actually detected. So it detected that there was 4 clients and that they're actually imported all 4. Now, when you go and do this, you might see that it detected, say, 70 or 75 clients, but it only imported, say, 50. The reason that it wouldn't import certain fields is because for a client to be created on RealOffice360, you need both a first and a last name. Now, you can fake the last name. You could just put a letter. So let's say you don't know their last name. It could literally be space question mark. That's totally fine. But the system does need that just for sorting things. So that would be why people wouldn't be importing. So as soon as I click done, and I just point out I only have 2 contacts here before I do that. As soon as I click done, give it a second here to load up. I now have my 4 new contacts. So I've got Brooke here, I've got Ganesh, I've got Jacqueline, and I've got Alexandra. So just like that, I'm starting to build out my database. So if I was to do the same thing with Google, it would be the exact same thing, but instead of clicking import contacts, I would be clicking import Google and just following the prompts. Okay, so I think we've got a pretty good understanding of how you can get clients into the database and all that good stuff, which is the core starting point. Now let's do some fun stuff. So let's say that I am working with Brooke, and Brooke is an active buyer. Now, a lot of people might come in here and say, active buyer. Create group, save. That's totally fine. And if I just want to look at who I'm working with on my active buyers, I can click on filter over here. Oops. And I can just filter my active buyers, and I can click apply. And you'll see just Brooke there. And then to close that filter, I just click the X. So that's one way to do it. But we've got this thing called the tracker. And the tracker, so I'm going to go to sales opportunities because Brooke is an active buyer, is basically your office whiteboard. So it's who do I have currently in my pipeline, or who am I currently working with as a buyer or seller? And what it allows you to do is track the progress of your clients through the sales process. So right now we've got the example client sitting here as a lead. I'm going to delete them. So to do any action on these cards, you can always click the 3 dots in the top right-hand corner. So I could add a task to them, I could edit them, or I could delete. I'm going to delete this client. And when you delete, you get this pop-up. It says, do you want to archive it? So for example, were they an active client, say a listing that was expired, terminated, withdrawn, or other, say it was a buyer that left, or do you want to delete it forever? You don't want to see it again in the system. Just so that we can walk through the process, I'm going to pretend that this was actually a terminated listing, and I'm going to archive that. So you'll see, you get this little pop-up, your opportunity has been terminated. It's been put over here in the deal section. So we'll jump over there in a bit. But now my pipeline's empty. So I want to add Brooke to my active pipeline. So we've got the active stage here. And I can either click add opportunity here for an existing client that's in my database or a new client, or I can click this plus button right in each stage. So if I want to add her to the active, I could go for existing client or for new. So let's go for existing client. and it says type client names. So as soon as I click here, it's going to pull up all my clients from the database. You can see Brooke, but if I start typing, it's going to narrow that search rate down. And now it's showing 106 Brooks, and I just click. And all of a sudden I see that I have Brooke there. And I think I said before, but she is an active buyer. We don't know the property that she's buying at right now. Her estimated purchase price, Brooke's a pretty successful lawyer, and she's looking in the $1.2 million range. And you'll see as soon as I typed in that purchase price estimate, my commission was also getting estimated. I'm going to show you where that came from in a moment. If I want to add some notes, so let's say that this is a deal from my broker, something like that, you can add that in as a note. So I'm going to add this opportunity. Just like that, I now have Brooke in my pipeline, and you'll see that there's a couple things here. So it's telling me that she's a buyer. It's telling me that the price point she's looking at is 1.2 million, and my gross commission is somewhere around 20,000 gross. So that's pretty cool. So where did that 20,000 number come from? On your opportunity pipeline, we've got this trophy where it says set goals. And if you click on it, you've got this calculator. And this is another great place for you to start with RealOffice 360, is setting up what you want to make in a given year based on your market. So for right now, I'm saying that I want to make $100,000 of gross income. And in my market, I work on a commission split where the average home value is $450,000, and I earn 3.5% on the first 100,000 and 1.5% on the balance. Now, if I got a flat fee, I can click flat fee and say that I get 13,000 for each one. Or if I do a flat percent, you could just change that and do that. So depending on what you enter here, this is how that commission is going to be estimated. So right now, again, I'm at the 3.5, 1.5. So I'm going to save those changes. I should point out that if at any time you want to edit or update that information, just click on those dots, go edit opportunity. And even though this was estimated at 20,000, let's say that I'm going to give Brooke a deal. I'm going to take 5,000 off. I'm going to put that in as 15,000, and you just simply type over, and I can update that, and you'll see that it now says 15,000 gross commission. It also says that I have one active in my pipeline of 15,000, and then up here you'll also see that I currently have one opportunity in my entire pipeline, so just this one card, and it's $15,000 worth of potential income. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so the next thing that jumps out at us is this showings day one. What the heck is that? So directly from your tracker, you can start to set up tasks that you need to do to clients. So I'm going to add actually a active seller just so we can walk through the process as well. But I'm going to add them as a lead to start. So I'm going to talk through a story. I've met a person named Carl Jones. And so I haven't added them to my database yet. So just to reiterate, I go back to my database. There's no Carl Jones in my database. But I just met Carl Jones, and we went for coffee, and I'm going to call that a lead. So I'm going to go for new client. I'm going to type in Carl Jones, 403-555-555, and let's see, that was a referral. And I'm going to add that as an opportunity. So right now, Carl Jones is over here, and I don't know what's going on, doesn't know if it's a buyer or seller. Carl calls me up, says, hey, Mike, I want to list with you. Awesome. So all of a sudden, Carl is now an active client. So I just simply drag, not into prospects, but into active. So right now, Carl is an active client, but I want to add some information. So I just click add opportunity info. So right now, Carl Jones, active. He's a seller. The address is 3 New Street, Southeast. The estimated sale price is $655,000. See how it estimated my commission there? And I'm going to update that deal. So as soon as I do that, you'll see that it says set up staging. So what we've done for each one of these stages is we've built pre-built checklists for each step along the way. So in active, if I click on set up staging, you'll see that we've got this checklist for Carl. So you can set up staging for your active listing, take property measurements, take photos, input the listing, install the lockbox, order the sign, etc. These are all pre-built for you. You can also add a task directly writing it in here if you wish. So let's say that I want to set up the staging for Carl. If I click on these three dots, I can schedule it today or schedule it for later. I'm going to do that today. And you'll see by doing that, it says due today, Wednesday, October 3rd, set up staging for Carl Jones. Great. You'll see that automatically he jumps to the top of the bucket. It says due today, set up staging for Carl Jones. Now you'll notice that Brooke's list is different. That's because she's a buyer. So if we click on her lists, you have showings for day one, showings for day two. So our day one showings for Brooke, we're going to schedule that for later, and we're going to perhaps do that on, say, the 4th, something like that. But we'll just close that out for now. So where do these checklists come from? On each stage or each bucket, you've got these checkboards. So if you click on that, it shows you where we have these pre-built checklists. So for active buyers, this is where it's getting pulled from. And you'll see that that's locked on the free plan. On any of the paid plans, you can fully customize these checklists for yourself. So we call them the intelligent workflows. If we go over to sellers, here's that checklist for the active stage. So if I close out of this and let's say I want to see what the checklist is for the firm stage, I can come in here. So for buyers, it's the final walkthrough, delivering the keys, dropping off a closing gift. For sellers, it's putting up your sold sticker, the final walkthrough again, releasing the keys, removing your sign, removing your lockbox, all that good stuff. So it's a really good base line for you to build from. But again, if you want to start customizing things on a global level, that's where the paid upgrade is. You can customize or add unlimited tasks on an individual level on the free plan. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so Carl, we've got to set up the staging, but that's great if I come in here and I see that I have this task due, but what about the planner? What about the calendar? So you'll notice that this is a task that I'm supposed to do today, set up staging for a Carl. So I want to go to my daily planner. What do I have to do today? So in my daily planner, you'll see a couple things. So it's Wednesday, October 3rd, and I've got my routine over here. So every day you'll have this daily routine. Now, this is a default routine that we've been curated across from all the industry coaches and brought that together. That what are the most successful agents doing? So we curated that, put it together as a routine, and that's something you can come in here and say, all right, I spent 30 minutes in my database, just check that off. Call prospects. Have I called 2 prospects? Well, I talked to Carl, so that's 1. I should call another one. Did I work out today? Well, I walked. Okay, I'll do that. And I've only had 1 of my 5 glasses of water. I haven't done my affirmations. If you want to customize this routine, again, that's on paid plans or higher, but you can utilize this routine to start. So that's the routine. In the middle, you have your day. So right now, I have set up staging for Carl Jones, which I just showed you guys how I set that up. I also have conduct webinar, which we're doing right now. So I set that up as an appointment for me to do today. You can also see that if I've got something that I need to do today, I can just quickly add it. So I just click in here and say, pick up milk. Done. I got to pick up the milk today. It's in there. So it's just something that I need to take care of. So here was one of the things that I set up before the webinar is that I had to write and send a personal note for an example client. When I hover over, you see these little check marks. You can mark them as done. So anytime you come in here, you can just easily come in and mark them as done. So just talk about that for a second. And then lastly, on the right-hand side, you've got these to-do some days. So you know those tasks that you need to do but aren't really pressing. So for example, I need to look into, say, getting a new vehicle. So research new vehicles. If I just add that, research new vehicle, it's going to stay there. So it's kind of like your, the task list you can push off. So, and I want to research new brokerage idea, something like that. So those aren't due today, and those are going to just stay there for you. So if you have any ideas or any things that you want to just get done, you just add them to do someday, and you'll notice that if I go and move the planner to another day, so if I just click this arrow to October 4th, my routine's not checked off. I have nothing to do today. But those to-do some days, they're still just living there. They're just still staying there. So fast forward, it's the 4th. Oh, I've got some time. I want to research my new vehicle. I can just click and drag this over and just schedule it for October 4th, which is really, really cool. So that's something that is really neat on the planner. So we're going to go back, and if any time you're not on today, just click show today, and it will go over to today. So here's what I've got going on. So that's the planner. Let's say I want to look at this in month view. If I go to the calendar everything is now in calendar view. So obviously we've got a lot to do on today. We've got that research new vehicle on the 4th. We've got Thanksgiving, so we're up in Canada here. You wouldn't believe it, but we had 14 inches of snow in the last day, so it feels more like Christmas than Thanksgiving. But that's coming up on the 8th, so that's actually determined by your office address. So in the settings, so your holidays will be driven by where your location is. So that's actually kind of cool. We've got client birthdays, purchase anniversaries, and contact reminders. Those are available on the paid plan. So if you want to turn those on, so if I'm going to try right now, it's just going to say that that's part of the paid version. So let's say that I want to go and just peek at a day. If I click on a day in here, it's going to pull up just a little day view and say I've already picked up the milk. I can just mark that as done, and it's no longer on there. So that's a pretty cool thing right there. So you've got your calendar, you've got your planner. Now let's just continue to go across the flow here and see what else we've got. So we've got in notes, if you remember, I had added a note to the example client that said that they wanted to invest in Vail. Well, it's right here. So in the notes, you're going to see every single note that you have ever made for every single client. So that's obviously a little bit overwhelming as well as for yourself. But it's a convenient way for you to come in here and search your notes. So if I type in whatever you really want to type in, it'll start to search from the notes. So I typed in Vail and it pulled up the Vail note, which is really, really cool. So you can search all your notes at any given time. Let's say I want to add a new note. It's automatically assigned to myself, but let's say I want to assign it to a client. I want to assign it to, say, Brooke. There's Brooke. She's that active buyer, wants to live a life with no, let's say, pet restrictions in her building. Okay, make sure MLS search is updated on that. So I can add a note there for Brooke. You can see that Brooks now has this note in here. And if I click on my database and go back to Brooke, in the notes section, that note will be there. So wants to live. So you can see how it's all sort of working together, getting really sort of streamlining and keeping everything all together for you. So that's really, really neat. My Drive. This is basically our take on Dropbox. So for every client that you create, we automatically create a file folder for you. And in that, you can upload any files that you want for that client, which is really, really cool. So you see that file I had uploaded for the example client, you can see there's one file in there. I don't have any personal files uploaded. And then in the top right, you can see how much storage I've used of my current limit, which obviously changes based on your plan. So let's say I want to upload a file for Brooke. I can do that directly from her client profile, or I can do that from this folder. So I can upload a file, browse, click the browse the file, desktop, let's say this PDF daily planner email, open. I can add labels to this. So right now I have a label called Cityscape. I'm going to create a label called Documents. Click to create and upload that file. And just like that, the file will be uploaded. So now Brooke has this file, daily planner email. If I click on the file, it's going to pop it up with a little viewer, and you can come in here and you can view it right here. You can also download the file direct. You've also got this not shared with client, and we'll get into that in a little bit later. So you'll see if I go back to my drive, now that I have one file in the example client, but I also have a file with Brooke, and you'll see that it kind of went up a little bit there, but it was a smaller file. So you can see how that starts to build out really, really nicely. And remember Carl Jones, we added him in the seller. Well, we created that folder automatically for you there. So you can see how as you create your database, it's creating these automatic storage features for you as well, which is really, really helpful. At least we've seen that be really, really helpful. Down to the network. So this is a place that we've built for you to be able to store your professionals that you work in your referral network. So mortgage brokers, insurance brokers, home inspectors, designers, interior designers, you name it. The people that you work with, that you refer out business to all the time, this is the place to basically build that database. So let's say I wanted to add our favorite home inspector. So we can just simply add pro. The name, it's I'm going to go with Joanna, home inspector, and select industry. Right now, just mortgage brokers will be there if you just got the default, but I'm going to type in home inspector, click to create, and just like that, I've created a new industry, which is really, really great. Company, etc. You can go through and fill it all out. Email, it's joanna@hia.ca, something like that. You can add in their website, Facebook, all that good stuff. So I'm going to add the pro. So see right there that Joanna is now added as a home inspector. So why would I want to do this? Well, here's the cool thing. Next time you have a client that is looking for referrals, whether they be anything here for a home inspector, a mortgage broker, etc., you don't have to go through your contact and try and find them anymore. You just simply come here, click send to client. Who do you want to send it to? So I want to send it to Brooke. Which professionals do you want to send? I want to send her both the Joanna, and I also want to send example broker, and I'm going to push continue. And then you get this email preview. It says the subject in the email will be Mike's list of professionals, or I could say referred professionals. So if you want to edit, you can right here. Any message you want, right? So we've auto-populated to say, please see this for reference, but you could say, hey, Brooke, here they are, something like that. And then it's going to email her their information. So their email, their phone number, their email, their phone number. Closing message, please let me know if questions, look forward to connecting. Voila, and send. And just like that, you've sent that email to Brooke with that information. So you can think of how clean and how streamlined that becomes once you've got your professional network built out. This is actually a really cool way that you can start to build your network with professionals as well. You can sit down with, say, your favorite couple home inspectors over whatever, and say, hey, you know what? I want to put you in as one of the exclusive people that I refer. I want to add you to my system. You can show them this. Here's what I'm going to do. You know, what working relationship can we figure out here, right? And this gives you that edge. It shows you that you've got that structured platform, that you are taking your business seriously and you're looking to grow that true referral relationship between them. And we've seen this actually take off quite well with a lot of agents utilizing this tool. So you can see how that works together. The last two we're going to kind of glaze over. Marketing. This is available only on paid plans, so I'm not going to belabor it, but effectively what it does is it syncs everything in RealOffice360 on the client side into a company, or a program I should call it, MailChimp. MailChimp is one of the largest mass email digital marketing platforms in the world. You can do full drip campaigns there. You can do full templates, customizations. You can set it up to do whatever you want for email sending. It is by far one of the most robust platforms out there, and they have a free account for up to 2,000 clients, and I think something like 20,000 emails a month. So it's really, really quite good. But again, to be able to connect that across, that's the link of our paid plan. And then lastly, we've got this thing called messages. So this is a really convenient time for me to talk about something that I've glazed over throughout RealOffice360. So I'm going to jump back to the database, and I'm going to go to Brooke. On each client, you've got these things called Home Hub 360 and create account. So what Home Hub 360 is, you can think about it, it's like the ultimate in client loyalty programs. So for any client you have that you close a deal with to start, what you can do is create these Home Hub 360 accounts for them. So what is Home Hub 360? If you click on this little eye, it tells you everything what you can do. But effectively what it is, it's a direct digital portal for them to manage their home. And the way that it works is that all this information that I've added about Brooke's properties, so not Brooke because I don't have any properties in here, but if we go back to, remember the example client, and we had all that information about Buckingham Palace, all this information automatically gets populated into the example client's Home Hub 360 account. They can log on to it anytime they want and get that information. It's provided by you. You continue to be the center of their real estate, and you can start to ebb yourself outside of the transaction into more of that client retention, client loyalty. So it's something that's a little bit more of a conceptual approach, and it's something a little bit more outside of the box. But what it allows a lot of real estate agents to do is to retain their clients at a much higher rate after the transaction. So once you've closed those transactions, you can then put them onto Home Hub 360, and now you have a reason to go and contact your clients. That's all I'm going to say about that, because it's quite advanced. We'll probably run a whole webinar on it, but you can walk through, create your own accounts, If they do have Home Hub 360 accounts, that's where you can message them to. So that's where the messaging goes to. And then back to the files where it said sharing files. To toggle on this sharing file right here, I would need Brooke, because again, it's Brooke's file. Brooke would need to have a Home Hub 360 account. So that's why those are sort of connected. So again, we'll probably run something else. So I'm going to jump back to the tracker because there's a few things that I haven't really talked about that are really, really cool. The first one is relationship events. So this is the first step of what we like to call a relationship-based business. Who do you want to keep in contact with? Whose home purchase anniversaries are coming up? And whose birthdays are coming up? And what do you want to do about them? So as soon as you enter information into RealOffice 360, we're going to, and just to organize, we're going to auto-populate what we call our relationship events for you. So if you add a client, you say you want to keep in contact with them every 3 months or every 6 months, they're going to pop up when that comes due in this stage. And when they pop up, they're going to, just like on the tracker, have these suggested actions. So right now it's saying that I wanted to keep in contact with Mike every 6 months. Today is the first day. And the first suggestion is to write or send a personal note. If I click on this, you can see that there's a couple other ideas. There's send tickets to an event, send a branded notepad, send, etc. So there's a bunch of ideas. And the same as on the tracker, these are pre-built for you. And if you want to customize these checklists, you can click on these up here. And again, those are available on the paid plans. So what we're trying to do is bring to the forward reasons for you to do those value added touches. So, we're constantly looking for ways to reach out to our potential clients, to our past clients, to our sphere of influence. And what we're doing with the relationship event tracker is giving you the reasons why, and then the things that you can do for that. Over here, we've got a birthday coming up on October 9th of example client. So what happens with a birthday? Well, if we click on this, you can send a birthday card, you can buy them a gift, you can send a gift, you can make a phone call, etc. So we can schedule all these different things either for later, you can mark them as done, or schedule for today, which, as we recall, will be all available on the planner and the calendar as soon as you do those things. If you recall, when we went through the calendar, there was the one that said write and send per personal note, for example, client. This is where it was coming from. So this is a great way for you to reach out to those people that you might not feel like you have a reason to reach out to. So that's a really good place. And what that ultimately leads into is your sales opportunities. So when you reach out to someone on their birthday, or you reach out to someone on their home anniversary, or it's that keep in contact, they might become those leads for you, right? You start having those conversations, you're looking for change, and all of a sudden they indicate to you that, hey, Mike, I'd really like to explore buying in the next 12 months. Well, I'm going to go and add that person as a lead. They're an existing client. I'm going to type their name in here, and that was actually Ganesh who said that. And I believe they said they wanted to buy in the next 12 months. I don't know any of the other details, so I'm just going to add that into track. So the power of the tracker here. When I go and talk with Ganesh, Ganesh now says, you know what? It's actually not the next 6 months. I want to do that in the next month. Well, guess what, Ganesh? You're now a prospect. And so that's really great. So I'm going to put you as a prospect. So you can start to see that you're progressing things down your business tracker all the way to a firm deal. Let's say with Carl has, or actually let's go with Brooke. So let's say Brooke has put in an unconditional offer to buy and the deal's gone firm. I'm going to put that into firm for now. And you'll see that the final walkthrough and all that scheduled is popping up. So we could book the final walkthrough, deliver keys, etc. That all goes to good. And now I want to close the deal. Possession day has occurred. What happens? So I want to get Brooke off of my pipeline because she's done. You'll see these ones at the top. We've got drop in a closed, archived, or delete. So I'm going to close this deal with Brooke. It's going to ask me to fill in the details. So what was the address? So I'm going to actually put in 5 New Street. So this is the property. Let's see here, New Brighton closed. There we go. That's good. Bought it for 1.25. And actually, there was a bonus on this one, and it actually got me $25,750 in commission. So that's really good. And the possession date, that actually just is about to happen on Friday, the 5th. I haven't collected my commission yet, and there's no date on it. So I can close this opportunity. You get these little balloons, and it tells you that you've now had 25,000 closed in deals this year, which is one deal. If I click over there, it's the same as if I clicked on tracker and went over to deals and income. And what deals and income does is it shows you where all of your closed and archived deals are, and it tells you the information. So I just closed this deal with Brooke. It was a purchase. The price paid was 1.25 million. I earned this much in commission. There's the closing date. And now, just like those checklists on the cards, we've got these other ones. What's the next action? If I click on this, ask for testimonial, ask for referral, do a 2-day follow-up. These are all things you can now directly schedule either today or later, right from RealOffice 360. Now, the really cool thing here, and it's a really simple one, is this little paid or not paid. We've met so many agents that have said, it's hard to keep track of everything, including even collecting your commission checks. So by closing your deals in RealOffice 360 and then just viewing from your tracker, going to deals and income, the ones that you've gotten paid for or you haven't gotten paid for, it allows you really, really quickly to be able to see where you're at from how much business you've done this year. So again, 25,000 summed up there, as well as have you actually collected that business. Now, if you remember at the very beginning of this webinar, we had this example client that I archived. Well, here they are. They're archived. It was a terminated deal. So now you can continue to keep track of that business that maybe didn't end up working out the way that you had hoped at the start. So you can imagine that this becomes a really great place for you to track all your business. The last thing I'll say, if you keep possession dates outside of the current year, you'll be able to toggle those years. So right now I only have deals in 2018, but if I'd close any deals in 2016, 2015, etc., those will all be able to be selected there. Lastly, if you want to export this at any time to a spreadsheet, you can click the Export to CSV button right there. So there's one last thing that I want to mention before we go into a little bit of Q&A for the last 9 minutes. It's that when you're looking at your pipeline, sometimes you're working in an office where there's lots of people around, and you might not want people to know that you only have 2 opportunities worth $12,000 in potential commission. We don't always want people to know our most intimate secrets when it comes to the business. You've got this little hide goals toggle, and if you just turn it, click it, it will turn all the sums off. So all the information is still there, but it just hides that. So let's say you want to show a colleague or something like that, hey, this is where my business is at, or you're going out on vacation, this is where my business is at, this is where the people are. You can just click that little show or no show, and that way it kind of takes away that weirdness to it. So that's pretty cool. Okay, the other one last thing that I want to point out was back to the planner. There's also this toggle that says daily email. So with all of our notifications, so for example, this one that said 10 a.m., I'm going to get an email at 10 a.m. saying that task is due. That's how our notifications work. So it's much like Facebook when you've got an event due, they'll email you when it's due, or you've got a birthday upcoming or something like that, they'll email you. So it's very similar to that. But what you can do is you can turn on a daily planner email. So if I turn that on and I go to settings, I can choose which days I get my daily planner emailed to me. So right now I have it all these days, but let's say I take Wednesday off. And you can change the hour. So right now it's sent at 8 a.m., but let's say you're an early starter and you want it at 6 a.m. You can do that. Let's say you start your day a little bit later. You can set it to 9, 10, etc. You get the point. The cool part is every day that you have checked, you're going to get an email that looks like, excuse me for a second, this is just the PDF that I had here, that looks like this, where it tells you what's going on in your daily routine, my day, if you have anything planned in your day, and then important dates or to-dos. So if you have birthdays or upcoming things, etc. So it's just a really quick way to start your day with a simple email to look at, okay, what do I got on my plate today? What's going on? So that rounds out basically everything that I wanted to go through on the started. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I am going to just answer a little bit of questions. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, so let's go through the questions. I'm just going to take a peek here. Okay. So one of the questions is, are you planning to get an expense tracker for tracking listing expenses? It's something that's definitely on our radar, but quite honestly, there's amazing products out there. If you haven't already looked at one, it's called Expensify. It's a really great product out there, and I would recommend you look at that. They do things really, really well, and we've seen agents utilize that in their business quite readily. So that's pretty cool. The next question here. Can you import your network separate from your contacts? So that's a great question. You actually can't import your network. So those are the professionals. Um, we've only got that set up right now where you add them one at a time. We haven't had any requests up until now to actually import more than, say, 5 or 6 professionals. A lot of people, when it comes to their people they refer, it's a pretty small number. So that's something that we haven't done. So to answer that, so I'm just going to keep going through here. One moment. Just got to clean up this. Okay, so we've got a couple questions. One about the file sharing. Can we integrate with Google Drive? At this point, no. The reason being is we have purposely set out to store all files securely on our AWS or Amazon Web Services. As soon as you start introducing integrations, whether it's Google or not, you introduce the potential of security being an issue. And we want to ensure that your client file and all of the privacy remains as secure as it possibly can be. So when it comes to files and things of that nature, that's why we don't have that integration with Google there. The next question is, for transactions, is it possible to add lease as an option? So right now, just as a reminder, there's buy, sell, and other. Something that's on our roadmap, and just to give a general update, we're planning on publishing our product roadmap in the coming weeks, where you'll be able to see exactly what we're looking towards working on and things that are be coming down the pipeline. So that'll be pretty exciting. But also the cool part is if you look at that and you see things that aren't on there, that's a great opportunity for you to reach out to us directly and let us know that it's something that you'd be looking to have as part of this suite. Because again, we are always trying to improve and we're always trying to make it better for you. So that is a no now, but yes in the future. Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, so one of the questions here is, can it be integrated into a website for lead generation? So that's a great question, and that's something that we're working on right now as I sit in the office. We actually launched RealOffice360 websites with introductory pricing about 2 weeks ago now. So if you go to realoffice360.com/websites, you'll learn all about our websites and our lead capture. When we're doing that, we're also building the capability so that we'll be able to utilize lead capture from other websites. So we're looking to roll that out within the next 4 to 6 weeks, which we're pretty exciting about. So you can imagine any lead that you get from your website would automatically be populated on your opportunity tracker in leads. So that's something that we're really looking forward to getting out there for you. So that's a great, great question. Okay, let's see here. One of the questions is, can you customize emails to include your signature? Right now, that is a no. We don't have, the only thing that the signature says is who it's from and why it's being sent. So that's based on spam laws. So that's something that we're looking to build out is the ability to customize your email signature. It's one of those things that's on the roadmap. But right now you can't do that. That's a great question though. The next question here is there any automated reach outs for clients for, say, birthdays? So we purposely built RealOffice so that there was nothing automated to your client. We did that specifically so that you're always in control. We go to basically the top real estate conferences every year, whether it's NAR or Inman, to give you an example. And as of late, the trend has been that drip and automation is actually becoming more of an onerous task for agents to manage, because there's so many programs that are doing this without us knowing, that all of a sudden our clients are getting emailed with things that we actually forgot we either set up or set up automatically. So we've purposely done it in a way that we prompt you for things that you could be doing with your clients for, say, their birthdays or anniversaries, but we never directly do that for you. So put another way, it's we nag you, and then it's up to you for you to follow through on that. There are a lot of great systems out there that do things automated, but unfortunately, we're just not one of them at this point in time. Now, there's a few of you that have asked some specific client-related questions. I'll be getting our team to reach out to you directly surrounding those. But at this point in time, it's 11 a.m., so I'm going to end this webinar. And I thank everyone for attending today. And if you have any questions at all, again, you can reach us at support@realoffice360.com. And thank you for your time, and have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday.